Well, I don't know what to say, you know. We've only just heard, and it's hard to think of things to say. But he was just a beautiful fella, you know, and it's terrible.
What are your plans now?
Well, we haven't made any. You know. I mean, we've only just heard, haven't
Yes, it's, you know, it's as much of a news to us as there is to everybody else.
Had you spoken to him since you became interested this weekend?
No.
I spoke to him Wednesday evening, the evening before we first saw Maharishi's lecture, and he was in great spirits.
And when did he tell you that he'd like to be initiated?
Well, when we arrived here on Friday, we got a telephone call later that day to say that Brian would follow us up and be here Monday.
Do you intend returning to Bangor before the end of this conference?
We probably won't have time now because Maharishi will only be here till about Thursday, and we'll have so much to do in London that we'll have to meet him again some other time.
I understand that this afternoon Maharishi conferred with you all. Could I ask you what advice he offered you?
He told us not to get overwhelmed by grief, and to whatever thoughts we have of Brian, to keep them happy, because any thoughts we have of him will travel to him wherever he is.
Had he ever met Mr. Epstein?
No, but he was looking forward to me.
John, where would you be today without Mr. Epstein?
I don't know.
Are you driving down to London tonight?
Yes, somebody's taking us down here.
You heard the news this afternoon, I believe.
Yes.
And Paul's already gone down?
Yes.
I see. You've no idea what your plans are for tomorrow?
No, we'd just go and find out, you know.
Just have to play everything by ear.
Yes. I understand that Mr. Epstein was to be initiated here tomorrow.
Yes.
When was he coming up? Was he coming up in the afternoon?
Tomorrow, just Monday, that's all we knew.
Had you told him very much about the spiritual regeneration movement?
Well, as much as we'd learned about spiritualism and various things of that nature, then we'd tried to pass on to him, and he was equally as interested as we are, as everybody should be. He wanted to know about life as much as we do.
Have you a tribute you'd like to pay to Mr. Epstein?
Well, you know, we don't know what to say. We loved him, and he was one of us. So you can't, you know...
We can't pay tribute in words.
What are your plans now?
To return to London and do whatever we can.
Did the Maharishi give any words of comfort?
His meditation gives you confidence enough to withstand something like this, even the short amount we've had.
And the thing that we've got to know about, there's no real such thing as death anyway. I mean, it's death on a physical level, but life goes on everywhere, and you just keep going, really. But so the thing is, it's not as disappointing as it is and it isn't, you know. And there's a thing about the comfort is to know that he's okay.
Sure. Since you became interested this weekend?
No.
I spoke to him Wednesday evening, the evening before we first saw Maharishi's lecture, and he was in great spirits.
And when did he tell you that he'd like to be initiated?
Well, when we arrived here on Friday, we got a telephone call later that day to say that Brian would follow us up and be here Monday.
I understand that this afternoon Maharishi conferred with you all. Could I ask you what advice he offered you?
He told us not to get overwhelmed by grief, and to whatever thoughts we have of Brian, to keep them happy, because any thoughts we have of him will travel to him wherever he is.
Had he ever met Mr. Epstein?
No, but he was looking forward to meeting him.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
All gutted, you know. It was a huge shock, of course, because he was like one of the people we'd known longest, you know, and huge confidant of ours, and we just knew him very well. And you know, when anyone dies like that, it's just the shock of them being wrenched out of the picture. You go, oh, I'm not going to see him anymore.